100 gigawatt we want to achieve. I think it was announced almost 8 to 9 months back, more than the presentation. I think we will have to have a serious thought on this, that whether we should go for 1 kilowatt systems or 10 megawatt systems or 4,000 utility scale systems. And perhaps ministry and government officials, they are taking their own time. What I mean to say is, I think as we are trading cautiously, we should also decide on the proper product mix. So that, as Stephanie said, that Kirsten said, we'll be locking. So that locking should not happen. We install 4,000 megawatt here and there, and then we feel, oh no, we should not have happened. There are too many transmission losses. Similarly, in the first session, we had heard that 100 gigawatt may require 650,000 of people. We are all very happy and gung-ho about it, but we should know what kind of people we want, whether they are solar installers or maintenance guys or designers. That works out to 6 persons per megawatt. Is that less or more? I don't know. I think these are the words of caution from my side we have to look at. Now, in our endeavor, we keep on talking about various terms: scheduling, forecasting, grid connectivity, net metering. There are so many terminologies, but unfortunately, we don't talk about energy efficiency. It's a good session Dr. Anil Garg has scheduled. Now the time has come, we should be talking about energy efficiency. If we know that for a solar cell, the efficiency is something around 20%, what it means? It means that 1%, 1 unit saved in system losses is equivalent to not adding 5 units of generating capacity. That means we need not add 500 gigawatt if we can save 100 gigawatt. So energy efficiency on the demand side management is always there in terms of motors, transformers, everything. But now we are talking about supply side. And this is also an area where we should put our stress on and thoughts on. I'll just give you one more perspective why energy efficiency is more important. We are thinking of rooftop systems. We are thinking of mini grids. As Colonel Pasricha said, that in the army installations we will use. If we use inferior quality of equipment, whether it is solar panels, where we are struggling to increase the efficiency from 22% to 23%, we are struggling for 1%. Whereas in system, there are losses already 1 to 2%, we don't even look at them. That is the area I want to highlight. So I'll quickly run through with this background. So we have this, all of us we know, but still it's good to go through again. Balance of systems, DC and AC side, this is one way of looking at the solar systems. Now, these are the areas wherein you can have system losses: wiring, cabling, switches, mounting system, no, inverter and battery bank. In solar PV panels, we are struggling to increase the efficiency, but there are other areas which I am trying to highlight is wiring and cabling. This we all know that there are different cable types, aluminum and copper, solid and standard. But when we go for DDG system, that is distributed decentralized systems, when we design them, when we design rooftop systems, I think we need to have a close look at all these specifications very carefully. My last slides will show the impact if we don't go through them properly. Insulations. Standards, guidelines are still on the way. They are being prepared by the ministry and BIS. But I guess we also, from our stakeholder side, we have to give our input to the ministry. Solar cable specifications, these are all in general, but I guess they have to be doctored considering Indian conditions. Wiring methods, I'll just run through because you can get these slides I will give the copy of the presentation so you can get it. See, the access to boxes. Junction boxes are the key areas wherein we terminate so many cables, and terminations have the hotspots. And hotspots only you have, through contact resistances, you lose a lot of energy. When we say skilled manpower, here only it becomes very important that whether we need skilled RE people, or we can retrain the existing people who are already doing installations in conventional systems. What is so different? What is so different for skill development training purely for RE sake? I mean, that also needs to be looked into. If you are having a trained electrician, do you need to train him once again for 2 years for an RE installation? Or you can have an add-on module. Just tell him what is difference between conventional and renewable. So that is where, normal cable laying everybody knows, but for RE, what it is different if you are connecting to the solar panels. That is where this slide is more important. I'm just sharing 4 photographs with you. I will not name the installations. I have purposely deleted the names, but this is what affects. I mean, we do the installations, and if this person is not skilled enough, this will what it result to, and that will result to the crucial losses. One more, and these pictures are from the live sites. Unfortunately, people don't go to the sites. I mean, they need to go and have a look at it. Now, in a typical solar array, you'll have more than 50 terminations. And if you don't have a skilled man to terminate it properly, you will have, even if one bad termination, it will increase the contact resistance so much so that you will have a loss up to 1.77%. I don't have the pointer, I would have showed you. Rightmost column, you can see, due to one bad termination, it increases the contact resistance, and the loss in the system is up to the extent of 1.77%. It's a huge loss. Right now, we have not been focusing on to it because we are still struggling from 3 gigawatt to 4 gigawatt. But when we scale up from 4 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt, I think these areas have to be really looked into properly. One verse joint, you see the last line, one verse joint impacts a loss up to 1.8%. This is the key thing which I would request you, and this is in addition to the typical cable losses. It's in addition to that. Now I'll come to another aspect. We always talk about life cycle cost systems on demand side management. That if you buy a car and then you should add on to it the mileage also, then only the total cost comes in. That's how we say. No? Similarly, for the copper conductor cables, if you use, and if you have to sign a 25-year PPA, so you should calculate the cost of cables over 25 years, not as the first purchase cost. This is what I have tried to state, that if you purchase copper conductor cables instead of aluminum conductor cables, you might have to spend rupees 30 lakhs more, which sounds very high in the initial stages, 30 lakhs per megawatt, but it can be recovered within a matter of few months more, and it will not impact the IRR. So I'm trying to focus on the life cycle cost rather than the first purchase cost. Second aspect, whenever you design the system, and if you take a higher diameter of the cable means less resistance. So for that also, if you take a bigger diameter, you may have to invest 25 lakhs rupees more, but your saving will become, a revised loss will be 1% instead of 2%. So that decrease in the loss of 1% will be huge instead of 25 lakhs. So these two aspects I have tried to share with you. This is my summary of my presentation. Any questions, please? Anyway, I must tell you who I am. So of course, I have not been able to. I'm sorry, I have not introduced myself. My name is VK Gupta. I am from International Copper Association, which is a part of Copper Alliance. Ours is a not-for-profit entity. We are based in Mumbai. Our headquarters in New York. We work for promotion of a copper as material, but that is through energy efficiency and renewable energy.